Chapter 81 Don't Be Happy Too Early. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Return to the back of the Green Bull. Yi Chen did not practice, but asked the guards to find Gully, who was patrolling the periphery. "Chief, are you looking for me?" Not long after, Gully came quickly. She was burly, but she still looked small in front of the 3 or 4 meter high Green Bull. "How many kilometers are we away from Xuanhuan tribe now?" Yi Chen asked. "About 80 kilometers, and we will be there after crossing 2 more mountains." Gully thought without hesitation. Chen pondered and said, "Go forward about 20 kilometers. If the terrain allows, go around to the west of Xuanhuan tribe. There is a big canyon to the west of the valley. Go around the big canyon and return to the tribe." Gully looked at Yi Chen blankly, obviously not understanding what he meant. Yi Chen looked up at the sky, and his sharp eyes swept around the blue sky. After confirming that there was no figure of the lightning queen bee, he jumped down. He found a branch and drew a circle on the snow. "This is the valley where the Xuanhuan tribe is located." He pointed to the circle. Gully nodded. She understood what he said. Then, Yi Chen drew a circle on the east side of the valley. "This is where we are now, about 80 kilometers away from the valley." Gully nodded again. Yi Chen drew another circle on the west side of the circle representing the valley. "About 40 kilometers west of the valley, there is a large canyon. I once killed a big python there." Yi Chen pointed the branch in his hand at the circle representing the large army. "Draw a straight line leading to the valley," but before connecting to the circle representing the valley, he waved the branch. An arc went around the circle representing the valley and connected to the circle representing the Grand Canyon. Then, with the Grand Canyon as the center, draw a straight line connecting the valley. "I understand." Gully suddenly realized what Yi Chen meant. "Also, send a few spiritual law tribesmen to the other 3 armies to inform them to stop expanding." Yi Chen continued to arrange the leaders of the 3 armies and all the spiritual law tribesmen, except for a few who stayed behind to suppress the surrendered beasts. All the rest should rush back to Xuanhuan tribe. Each group should arrange 3 spiritual law tribesmen to deliver the message, telling them to be careful of the queen bee's attack. If they see the other party, just get rid of them with speed. "Okay." Gully nodded. "Go." Yi Chen waved his hand, wiped off the traces on the snow, and returned to the back of the Green Bull to continue practicing. Although Gully didn't understand why Yi Chen went to such great lengths, she didn't ask much and went to arrange these 2 things. "Oh my God, does Yi Chen know that all of us humans are looking forward to his return to the tribe? So he deliberately ordered a detour to torture us to death. It doesn't matter if he tortures us now, I'm just afraid that after returning to the tribe, Yi Chen will continue to torture us and just won't teach us the skills." In the live broadcast room, some viewers were dumbfounded. Obviously, they couldn't figure out why Yi Chen did this. "You think too much." Yi Chen is preparing for a rainy day to prevent the lightning queen bee from secretly following the large army and finding the location of the Xuanhuan tribe. Someone explained, therefore, he plans to use the terrain of the canyon to get rid of the lightning queen bee. Let it not find the valley where the Xuanhuan tribe is in a short period of time. This lightning queen bee is lucky. It actually forced the greatest genius of our human race to waste brain cells and time to think about how to get rid of its tracking. It's more than lucky, it's simply the luckiest beast in history. You know, it is only the first level 30 beast. When the human race swept across the Milky Way, we killed countless top beasts. These top beasts, at most, only appeared in the military report. The Thunder Queen Bee can at least appear twice in the major events of our human history. Once to witness the birth of Yi Chen's new technique, and once as the first beast that gave Yi Chen a headache. It is true that the Thunder Queen Bee is really amazing. It can be recorded in the history of our human race twice. The audience in the live broadcast room were all amazed. From the perspective of the human race, this Thunder Queen Bee is definitely a beast with great luck, because as long as the human race is not destroyed, the human race's heritage and history are not destroyed. Even after tens of millions of years, the Thunder Queen Bee can still be remembered by future generations of human race. This is a legendary beast that witnessed the birth of the new technique of the greatest genius in the history. of the human race, and also gave the greatest genius in the history of the human race a headache and wasted brain cells. Of course, from the perspective of the lightning queen bee, whether it feels that smoke is coming out of its ancestral grave is another matter. Speaking of which, this lightning queen bee is lucky, but it is really harmful to people. It forced the large army to waste time and go around in a big circle to get rid of it. Some viewers couldn't help but sigh. Because of it, the large army will take at least 5 or 6 hours at night to return to the Yanshan tribe. I just can't understand why there are so many people with poor brains in the live broadcast room. We should thank the lightning queen bee. Did you forget Yi Chen's other order? Why did Yi Chen ask Gully to send people to notify the other 3 armies to stop expanding, and most of the spiritual law tribesmen return to the tribe? If you have a little reasoning ability, you should know that Yi Chen is trying to solve the threat of the lightning queen bee and intends to teach the skills to the spiritual law tribesmen as soon as possible to improve their strength, so that they can fight even if they encounter the lightning queen bee, or even kill the lightning queen bee. Fuck, it seems that this is the only explanation. So, Yi Chen returns to the tribe and waits for the spiritual law tribesmen to arrive, and then he will teach the skills. This is a sure thing. What do you mean by a sure thing? Is it 100%? Otherwise, why is he so anxious to recall the 3 armies of the spiritual law period clansmen? Only by increasing the strength of these spiritual law period clansmen can they deal with the threat of the lightning queen bee. Only by himself, if he can't find the lightning queen bee, unless all the clansmen retreat to the Yanshan tribe, there is no way to ensure the safety of the clansmen. Brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts, please don't say 100%, stable, and the success rate is full, okay? As soon as I heard these words, I began to tremble with fear and had a bad premonition. In an instant, the entire live broadcast room was quiet, everyone began to warn themselves again, the dawn is just around the corner, the more such moments, the more calm you must be. The more calm you must be. Don't be happy too early. Chapter 82 A Wonderful Fate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Clan leader, we have arrived at the entrance of the Grand Canyon. Guli rushed over from the periphery of the large army, Yi Chen ended his training, look up. The entrance to the Grand Canyon is right in front of you, it is winding and rugged, like an endless long dragon, looking up, there are towering cliffs on both sides, thousands of meters high, the snow that had been falling for several days and nights had stopped, and the blue sky was so clear that no trace of impurities could be seen. Shrink the team and move at full speed, let the scout team keep a close eye. Yi Chen waved his hand, following Guli's order, the large army began to shrink and headed towards the Grand Canyon. Yi Chen did not practice anymore, but focused on the rear, searching for the Thunder Bee Queen. From the words of the High Priest, he already knew that although the Thunder Bee Queen could also fly, its flying height and endurance were not strong due to being unable to fly under the clouds for a long time. If the Thunder Bee Queen is still following the rear of the large army. After entering the canyon, there are only 2 ways to continue tracking the large army, one followed the large army into the canyon, and the other followed secretly from above the canyon. As long as the Thunder Bee Queen is not stupid, she will not use the first method, because the entire Grand Canyon, the widest area, is only 400 to 500 meters, the narrow area is less than 100 meters wide. It's easy to spot whereabouts, moreover, once their whereabouts are discovered, it will be clear whether they are escaping from behind or from above. Unless his speed can surpass Yi Chen, he won't be able to escape even if he wants to. As for the second way, it is equally difficult, the canyon is too high, several thousand meters high, and the cliffs are rugged. From the cliff above the canyon, you can't see what's going on below the canyon at all. The only way is to pass through the top of the canyon, rush all the way to the end of the canyon, and slowly wait for the large army to appear. Naturally, Yi Chen would not allow this to happen. Just when the large army entered the Grand Canyon less than a kilometer away, he suddenly started to speed up and soared into the sky. The whole person instantly turned into an afterimage, flying rapidly upwards. In the blink of an eye, we reached the sky above the canyon. The surrounding environment is unobstructed. After a quick scan, Yi Chen accelerated again and quickly searched from the top of the canyon towards the end. Okay. Yi Chen overestimated the Thunder Bee Queen's IQ. When the audience in the live broadcast room saw this situation, they immediately understood that Yi Chen was on guard against the Thunder Queen Bee and arrived at the end of the canyon in advance to wait. This Thunder Bee Queen has never thought of this method at all. Now, she is still staying at the entrance of the canyon, not daring to enter. The level 30 ferocious beast may not be inferior to us humans in intelligence, but it does not have any knowledge inheritance and its thinking is obviously limited. However, this actually saved its life. It really wanted to fly from the top of the canyon to the end and wait there. Yi Chen's sudden attack might have discovered its whereabouts. Once its whereabouts are discovered, it will be doomed. The top of the canyon is empty and unobstructed. Even if there is a buffer of several hundred meters, it will not be able to find environments such as woods as bunkers and obstacles to get rid of Yi Chen's pursuit. Wait a minute, looking in the direction of Yi Chen, doesn't it mean that he will run into Bai Ruoxin? In the live broadcast room, some viewers suddenly exclaimed. Bai Ruoxin? The most beautiful girl in the Yanshan tribe? That's based on our aesthetics, the aesthetics of the exile planet. She is the ugliest girl in the Yanshan tribe. Wait a minute, I remember that Bai Ruoxin seems to have always been independent, drawing maps, right? Could it be that she is in the Grand Canyon? She is above the Grand Canyon, and is on the only way to Yi Chen's flight route. It's true, look at the position about 1,000 kilometers ahead of Yi Chen. There is a huge rock there, and Bai Ruoxin is on it. Luck is such a wonderful thing. Bai Ruoxin seems to be the most eccentric and maverick among all the fake felons, and the only one who chooses the long-term route, right? But with luck, she may become the first fake felon to be noticed by Yi Chen. The viewers in the live broadcast room all sighed at the wonder of fate. This Bai Ruoxin has received considerable attention because it conforms to the aesthetics of the Human Federation, but it's one thing to pay attention to high prices, and it's another thing to be optimistic about them. In the Yanshan tribe, Hailan plus the 15 fake felons who had mixed up with the Qinchao tribe, there were a total of 16 fake felons. Many news websites have conducted surveys and rankings even. Many gaming companies have launched related handicaps. Let the audience choose who is most likely to be the first person to successfully approach Yi Chen. Bai Ruoxin is always at the bottom. The odds offered by bookmakers were even as high as over 700 to 1, even Hailan, who was relegated to the Cold Palace, had odds of 230 to 1, whether it is the public or betting companies. The reason why Bai Ruoxin is so unfavorable is that she has multiple fatal flaws. The first thing that bears the brunt of it is that she is too ugly, extremely ugly. Her skin is fair and delicate, her eyebrows are picturesque, her temperament is elegant and quiet, she is like a fairy who does not eat the fireworks of the world. This image and temperament, placed on the exiled planet whose beauty is rugged and burly, is simply ugly to the sky. With this alone, it would be even more difficult for Bai Ruoxin to successfully approach Yi Chen, not to mention, the strategies she devised were extremely bizarre. All the fake felons, after joining the Yanshan tribe, tried their best to show their strengths and try to attract Yi Chen's attention, or they collected information and studied how to attract Yi Chen's attention. Bai Ruoxin was the only exception. When she was still in the Qinchao tribe, she had always spent her time and energy on studying those fake felons. After the Qinchao tribe was merged into the Yanshan tribe, all the fake felons were trying to attract Yi Chen. Her eyes and attention were all on observing the tribesmen of the Yanshan tribe, studying competitors and observing people around them. These behaviors are actually reasonable. The most incomprehensible thing is that 3 months ago, Luo Shi took the initiative to set up a plan to cause internal strife between the Qinchao tribe and the Yanshan tribe, trying to draw Yi Chen out to deal with him, so that he could offer advice and make Yi Chen look at him differently. Unfortunately, the plan failed. Yi Chen did not come forward in person, but let the high priest take the blame and solve the problem with the solution of using heavy punishment in troubled times. After that incident, Bai Ruoxin suddenly left the Yanshan tribe, carrying a huge animal skin package. He turned into a geological prospector and began to draw a topographic map of the entire Yanshan Mountains with the valley where the Yanshan tribe was located as the center, collecting information on various beasts, minerals, and plants. Logically speaking, fake serious criminals are the elites among the human elites. Before entering the exile planet, they must have kept the Yanshan Mountains and even the surrounding geographical environment in mind. If you want to attract Yi Chen's attention by drawing a map and then presenting it, you can leave the tribe for half a month to pretend, and then start implementing the map offering plan. But Bai Ruoxin seems to be just a geological prospector. For more than 3 months, he was completely immersed in drawing maps and collecting information on various beasts, plants, and minerals. Judging from the posture, it seems that she will spend 1 or 2 years to travel all over the Yanshan Mountains. It is precisely because of this that she has become the least optimistic existence among all the fake serious criminals. Even the odds of the bookmakers were as high as 700 times to 1, far exceeding Hai Lan, who was banished to Gully. But no one expected that fate would be so wonderful. In order to get rid of the Lightning Queen Bee, Yi Chen ordered the main force to take a detour to the West Canyon, in order to prevent the Lightning Queen Bee from arriving at the end of the canyon first and waiting for her. He personally flew to the top of the canyon for reconnaissance, and Bai Ruoxin happened to be on a huge rock above the canyon, looking far away and drawing a topographic map of the surrounding area. Chapter 83, The Beautiful and Honest Man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What a pity, her image is too bad. Otherwise, she might have relied on this incredible luck to turn from the person least likely to approach Yi Chen to the person most likely to successfully approach Yi Chen first. Yes. Her image is too bad, this innate disadvantage is too obvious. I just can't understand why there are fake felons who don't have plastic surgery to match the aesthetics of the exiled planet when the aesthetics are different. It's not just the beauty trap that can be used. Not to mention now, even in ancient times, there were 36 strategies. There must be all kinds of fake felons. This time, there are as many as 10,000 or 20,000 fake felons. The federal government and the military must have accounted for the majority. It's not necessary for every fake felon to be a beautiful woman with a burly figure and dark and rough skin. There must be male fake felons who take other plans, and there must be ugly women who take other plans. Seeing that Yi Chen was getting closer and closer to Bai Ruoxin, and there was no sign of turning around, the audience in the live broadcast room were secretly regretful. If Bai Ruoxin was a beautiful woman with a sturdy figure and dark and rough skin, there is no doubt that she would be able to give Yi Chen an excellent first impression. In addition, she left the tribe alone for more than 3 months and worked hard to draw a topographic map. This credit and idea made it very likely that she would successfully win Yi Chen's attention. If the image is not good, it depends on luck. Above the canyon, Yi Chen flew quickly, his eyes constantly scanning the 4 directions, looking for the whereabouts of the Lightning Queen Bee. The Lightning Queen Bee did not see that a figure that looked like a human on a boulder came into sight. How could there be a human here? Yi Chen suddenly felt strange. He could not help but speed up and fly towards the boulder. 200 meters, 100 meters, 50 meters, as the distance got closer, he was more and more sure that it was a human. Although he could only see the back, he was wrapped in thick animal clothes and animal hats. Under the boulder, there was also a huge animal skin package. Hello. In order to avoid scaring the other party and avoid being attacked, Yi Chen greeted him from 5 or 6 meters away. The human was obviously startled and turned around. What caught Yi Chen's eyes was a face without makeup, but still beautiful. The delicate and small facial features were flawless, the lively eyes were as bright as the stars in the sky. Even though she was wrapped in thick animal skins and wrapped like a zongzi, she still couldn't hide her quiet and elegant temperament. Chief. You can fly? Bai Ruoxin looked at Yi Chen in surprise. Her bright eyes were full of surprise. She hadn't been back to the tribe for more than 3 months, and she had no idea how much of a sensation Yi Chen caused when he left the tribe and went to Gully. Although the tribesmen didn't see it with their own eyes, they knew from the high priest and the guards that Yi Chen could fly in the sky. Are you from the Yanshan tribe? Yi Chen was also a little surprised. My name is Bai Ruoxin, and I used to be from the Green Grass tribe. Bai Ruoxin nodded. The new technique I created can allow me to fly in the sky. Yi Chen also explained. He looked at the charcoal and yellow paper in Bai Ruoxin's hand and asked curiously, What are you doing here? Bai Ruoxin raised the yellow paper in his hand and showed Yi Chen the topographic map on it. Drawing a topographic map of the Yanshan Mountains and collecting information on various spiritual minerals, beasts, and plants. Can you show it to me? Yi Chen's eyes lit up. This is a good thing. He had planned to send people to draw topographic maps and collect information on spiritual materials and minerals a long time ago. It's just that due to the lack of manpower in the tribe, it has not been officially implemented. Unexpectedly, someone actually started doing it in advance. Bai Ruoxin nodded and handed the yellow paper in his hand to Yi Chen. The inventor of this paper is Luo Shi. In order to make Yi Chen pay attention and summon him, in addition, he deliberately led the tribe to infighting and led Yi Chen out to deal with the conflict and offer advice. It can be said that he took a two-pronged approach. As a result, both routes failed. Regarding the invention of paper, although Yi Chen gave a comment of major contribution and asked the high priest to reward him according to the highest standards, he did not summon Luo Shi. Luo Shi thought that Yi Chen did not know the contribution and value of paper to the development of civilization. Although he knew how to improve paper, he did not start. Therefore, this yellow paper is still at the lowest level, rough to the touch, slightly bumpy, and of extremely poor quality. On it, Bai Ruoxin's description of the terrain around the canyon is drawn. It is not lifelike, but it is extremely clear. The shapes of the woods, mountains, and canyons in the distance are clearly visible, and even the approximate size is marked. Anything else? Yi Chen looked up at Bai Ruoxin. It's all there. If the clan leader wants to see it, just look at the summarized topographic map. Bai Ruoxin stood up and opened the animal skin package. In addition to some clothes and food, as well as an iron sword, nearly half of the space was filled with animal skin rolls and yellow paper. Bai Ruoxin took out a stack of animal skins and handed it to Yi Chen. The top one shows the valley where the Yanshan tribe is located and the surrounding terrain. The scale is about 1:10,000. The animal skin, which is 30 centimeters long and wide, depicts the terrain within a radius of 30 kilometers of the Yanshan tribe. In the upper right corner, there is also a topographic map number 1. The next one is the topographic map number 2, which shows the terrain directly south of the topographic map number 1. Looking at the back, there are number 3, number 4, number 5, and it ends with number 9. Some of them are incomplete. Obviously Bai Ruoxin has not reached that area yet. If all of them are complete and pieced together according to the serial number, they will be all the topographic maps within a radius of 60 kilometers of the entire Yanshan tribe. The map below the number 9 topographic map is the information on the distribution of various animals and plants and spiritual minds in each area. Yi Chen showed a happy expression. He felt that he had encountered a treasure. This topographic map perfectly meets his future requirements for topographic maps. How did you think of drawing a topographic map of the Yanshan Mountains? Yi Chen looked at Bai Ruoxin and asked casually. In his heart, he was thinking about how to convince Bai Ruoxin to return to the tribe to practice well first, and then form a team to draw maps after he became strong. Bai Ruoxin's mouth slightly raised an arc, as perfect as a crescent moon. I plan to present the topographic map of the Yanshan Mountains to the tribe leader after I draw it. Then I will be reused and appreciated by the tribe leader and gain power and status. Yi Chen was a little confused. So honest? What the hell? The audience in the live broadcast room was also confused. There are many honest people, but they all saw such a beautiful honest person for the first time. Master, this is a real master. To say so, he must have calculated Yi Chen's character and simply went straight to the point and stated his intentions. Soon, someone reacted. That's right, they are indeed the ones who were chosen to enter the exile planet to approach and even control Yi Chen. None of them are simple. Real and fake, true and false. In this case, the more half-truths and half-falses, the more trust Yi Chen can get. Okay. My IQ is not enough and I need to recharge. But I think you guys are pretending to be smart. I also think my IQ is a little insufficient. Why do I just feel that Bai Ruoxin is just teasing those fake felons and joking with Yi Chen? I feel that Bai Ruoxin is as unpredictable as Yi Chen. Since she entered the Green Grass tribe, her every move has been completely unexpected. It feels like, she doesn't come to approach and control Yi Chen, but more like she came to the exile planet to do research. Unlike those fake felons, her attention was not on Yi Chen from beginning to end. The audience in the live broadcast room were all guessing what Bai Ruoxin was thinking. Chapter 84, the leader of the intelligence organization is revealed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's interesting, that Yi Chen woke up and couldn't help but feel happy. He was still thinking about how to persuade Bai Ruoxin to form a team to help him draw a terrain map. As a result, Bai Ruoxin actually said that the purpose of drawing the topographic map was to attract his attention and reuse. As for authenticity, it's a bit hard to say, he asked, just drawing the topographic map of the Yanshan Mountains, according to your meticulous drawing method, will take at least 1 or 2 years. Isn't this time too long? I'm only 18 years old. The total number of members of the Yanshan tribe is only 3,000 to 4,000. It's not yet time for the clan leader to pay attention to the topographic map, so don't worry. Bai Ruoxin pursed her mouth slightly, nonchalantly. It will soon reach 9,000, and the number of competitors has increased several times. Yi Chen joked. It doesn't matter. I was lucky and was discovered by the clan leader in advance. Bai Ruoxin's eyes were like a pool of clear water, with a bright light flashing. The fairy who is quiet, elegant and otherworldly seems to have become an elf in the forest. Okay, come back with me. After you go back, you can select people to organize a team of people to draw the terrain map. Yi Chen decided, however, you have to wait until your strength reaches a certain level and you learn the flying ability of the new technique before you start drawing the terrain map. Moreover, it is not just about drawing the topographic map of the Yanshan Mountains. The main direction must be to draw the topographic map of the unconquered areas for the 4 armies in advance. Not enough. Bai Ruoxin's eyes were as bright as stars, and she looked at Yi Chen without blinking. I also want the right to collect and investigate various information, such as collecting information on ferocious beasts in unconquered areas, and secretly collecting and investigating tribesmen. Yi Chen frowned slightly. Good guy, she is playing with fire. What on earth is she thinking? She actually takes the initiative to ask for more power in front of Yi Chen, and it is such a crucial right. If she is really playing the game of fiction and reality, it feels a bit too much. What kind of existence is Yi Chen? He can't even completely trust his friend Gu Li and is ready to investigate secretly. How could he let Bai Ruoxin take charge of such an important matter with just a few words and just like child's play? A failure, absolutely a failure. I originally had great hope of becoming the person who could get close to Yi Chen the fastest, but in the end, all my previous efforts were wasted in just 1 sentence. She didn't see it. It was just because she hid the designer of the scout team and the team's organization. If she made a mistake, even Gu Li's future was almost ruined. The viewers in the live broadcast room shook their heads and were disappointed. From their standpoint, they definitely hoped that Bai Ruoxin can successfully approach Yi Chen, because no matter which force Bai Ruoxin belongs to, as long as they can gain Yi Chen's favor and trust, or even control Yi Chen, they can get Yi Chen's newly created skills in advance. What they didn't expect was that Bai Ruoxin would make such an unreasonable request at a critical moment when Yi Chen had already decided to let her form a team. Above the canyon, Yi Chen frowned and stared at Bai Ruoxin for a long time. It seemed that he wanted to see through Bai Ruoxin. Bai Ruoxin faced it calmly, with no trace of impurities visible in her clear eyes. Knowing that I really want to agree, what will be the consequences? Yi Chen suddenly asked. No. Bai Ruoxin nodded. In the future, many people will definitely be watching and thinking of plotting to get me down. Or one day, the clan leader will listen to other people's slander or designs, doubt my loyalty or ability, and replace me. And once I lose the trust and power of the clan leader, because I know too much, there will probably be a long queue of people who want to kill me, including the clan leader. It seems that you have thought it over carefully. Yi Chen clicked his tongue in surprise. He didn't expect that a small Yanshan tribe with a population of several thousand would have such a beautiful girl that he couldn't see through, call it ambitious. He couldn't see any ambition in Bai Ruoxin's eyes. If he was really ambitious, there was no need to spend a year or 2 drawing the topographic map of the Yanshan tribe, and he would only encounter it in advance by luck. With the brains and mentality she showed, there were many opportunities to get close to him in the Yanshan tribe. Moreover, it is a bit weird for a girl to want to be the leader of an intelligence organization. Say you have no ambition. The words directly refer to power and status, and Bai Ruoxin showed no awe in front of him from beginning to end, neither humble nor arrogant, calm and composed. Even Gu Li, who first met him, couldn't do this, mysterious girl. Since you are mentally prepared, then do as you wish. After thinking over and over again, Yi Chen made a decision. Thank you, Chief. Bai Ruoxin's beautiful face was filled with a smile as bright as the sun. In the live broadcast room, there are tens of billions of viewers, and there are 10,000 mythical beasts galloping in their hearts. Damn it, is Yi Chen such a childish person? The future leader of the Yanshan tribe's intelligence agency was born in such a muddle-headed way. The irrational Bai Ruoxin met Yi Chen, who was insulated from the common sense, and the result was a negative and a positive effect. Everyone was confused. Bai Ruoxin's words would undoubtedly destroy the Great Wall at the critical moment, but Yi Chen's decision was so strange that it exceeded everyone's expectations. No, I figured it out. This is the most reasonable result. Bai Ruoxin is really smart. Her mind and brain can definitely kill all the fake serious criminals in seconds. Some people thought about it and reversed the result, explaining it after the fact. Think about it, who is Yi Chen? Why did Hai Lan's beauty trap and Luo Shi's chain trap all fail? Yi Chen is the greatest genius in the history of our human race and the most diligent genius. At the same time, he also has the ambition, brain and character of a tyrant. In front of his strong concentration, beauties are like dry bones, not worth mentioning, and have no appeal at all. Hai Lan's behavior disturbed Yi Chen's research on the skills, and made him feel disgusted. Luo Shi's chain trap failed because of this. From the fact that Gu Li concealed the designer of the scout team and the team organization, Yi Chen remained calm. It can be seen that Yi Chen is not uninterested in Luo Shi, who invented paper. This point can be seen from the fact that he specially approved the highest tribute to Luo Shi. The reward can be seen. The reason why he did not summon Luo Shi is because he was busy researching and creating skills and did not have the time. It is also because of his personality. Even if he attaches importance to it, he will not show it at the first time. He must plan to observe Luo Shi first and see how he performs in the future. As for setting up a trap to cause internal strife in the tribe, but not luring Yi Chen out. It is also because Yi Chen did not have time and thought of a simpler solution. Even, Yi Chen guessed that someone was secretly fanning the flames of the internal strife in the tribe, but he only asked the high priest to investigate secretly, and did not investigate it personally, because he did not have time. In short, creation and research of skills are ranked first in Yi Chen's mind. Only when the expansion of the four armies is blocked can he put down creation and research of skills and run to solve it as soon as possible. For the rest of the things, those that can be solved simply can be solved simply. Those that cannot be solved simply can be put aside and talked about when they are free. The more the other party talked, the more excited he became, and the more he talked, the more he felt that he had found the truth. In summary, Yi Chen is meticulous and scheming, but he spends most of his time and energy on creating and researching new skills. Other things are solved simply if they can be solved simply, and those that cannot be solved simply are put aside for the time being. If you want to get close to Yi Chen and get his attention, the easiest way is to go straight to the point. Yi Chen is not only the greatest genius of our human race, but his mind and brain are also top-notch. Although he does not show his self-confidence to the point of arrogance, he is arrogant deep in his heart. He doesn't believe that there are people he can't control. Bai Ruoxin's cleverness is that she didn't waste Yi Chen's time and directly told him her intentions and ambitions. At the same time, she quickly showed her mind and ability in this regard in front of Yi Chen. Another thing is that the population of Yanshan tribe is not large now. The cost of trial and error is not high. The simplest example is that Yi Chen can judge that someone is fanning the flames of the internal strife in the tribe with just a few words, but the old man, the high priest, is completely unaware of it. He obviously has no ability to manage the affairs of the entire tribe, and he will definitely make mistakes in the future. Yi Chen not only did not weaken his power, but instead gave him more power to control the fate of the tribe and adjudicate various disputes with one word. One reason is that there is a shortage of manpower, and the other is that even if the high priest makes a big mistake, the price is within the acceptable range for Yi Chen. The power of the leader of the intelligence organization is far less than that of the high priest, who is now comparable to the regent minister. It is also just that there is a lack of manpower to investigate who is inciting tribal conflicts behind the scenes. When Guli has the defect of jealousy, he will agree to let Bai Ruoxin try, which is logical and reasonable. The audience in the live broadcast room seem to understand. It is better to listen to your words than to listen to your words. It seems to make sense, but whether it is really the case, only Yi Chen himself knows. After all, this is a conclusion inferred from the results. If we infer from the results, it is reasonable to say that Yi Chen felt that fate was indescribable, and agreed to Bai Ruoxin because they were destined to meet. Similarly, it is reasonable to say that Yi Chen did not take this matter seriously at all, and agreed without hesitation when he was in a good mood. It is even reasonable to say that Yi Chen has an extremely rare and severe aesthetic distortion, likes ugly women, and seeing that Bai Ruoxin is beautiful, he can't bear to refuse her request. Chapter 87, Stopping the Cow and Complaining. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Here they come. After waiting for more than half a year, the fake felons finally have the opportunity to show themselves in front of Yi Chen. Fortunately, this time Yi Chen did not fly directly from the mouth of the valley to the end of the valley. Seeing the children chasing and playing, the audience in the live broadcast room were all in high spirits. It's a pity that Liang Sheng's delicious food failed to attract Yi Chen. That is inevitable. He made a mistake in this direction in the first place. Food may be tempting, but no matter how tempting it is far less than the sense of accomplishment and satisfaction brought by practicing and improving one's realm. Don't talk about delicious food, even the attractiveness of beautiful women cannot match it. Helen's beauty trap has failed, and this delicious food scheme is bound to fail as well, since the food is only good in appearance and fragrance. I don't know if Lu Xing's plan can succeed. God knows, he was the one I was most optimistic about originally. But now, I feel a bit uncertain. Yi Chen is becoming more and more majestic and imposing as a superior. The possibility of accepting a disciple because of his love for talent is extremely low. It's really hard to say, any outcome is possible. The viewers in the live broadcast room had little confidence in the fake felons. However, everyone's mentality is pretty good. It's good to be successful. The more fake felons get close to Yi Chen and are reused by Yi Chen, the greater the chance that Yi Chen will teach him new skills in advance. I won't be too disappointed if I don't succeed. After all, Bai Ruoxin, the unofficial leader of the intelligence organization, has taken the first step. Come on, come on. You losers, more than 20 of you can't beat one of me. The shirtless little boy Lu Xing turned around to challenge the children chasing him as he ran. As if he didn't notice Yi Chen, he had no idea that he was bumping into the green bull where Yi Chen was sitting. 10 meters, 9 meters, 8 meters. Clan leader, be careful. That the high priest's eyes lit up. This seems like a good opportunity to protect the Lord loyally. My thoughts changed quickly, and I evaluated whether my old arms and legs could withstand the impact. He immediately rushed to the other side of the green bull, spread his arms, and stood in front of the green bull as if he was dead. Oh! Lu Xing did not give him, this loyal protector, a chance to intercept the clan leader's mount with all his might in order to protect it from being hit by a little kid. He had already assessed the distance and had even practiced it countless times in secret. When he was still about 2 meters away from the green bull, "Come back." After seeing the green bull that was about to hit him, he exclaimed. Immediately afterwards, he twisted his waist and used the inertia of his forward motion to perform a beautiful 360-degree mid-air rotation. The movements are done in one go, the reactions are quick, and the skills are agile. More importantly, the speed is extremely fast, and the cloud stepping technique is used with great proficiency. On the green bull, Yi Chen waved his hand, a vine as thick as an arm stretched out of thin air from the ground. It quickly moved upward and stayed in the air for nearly a second, entangled with the feet of Lu Xing, who was about to fall. Just like that, he was hung upside down about 1 meter above the ground. Clan leader, are you okay? The high priest secretly thought it was a pity and looked at Yi Chen with concern. he was fully prepared to ask Yi Chen if everything was okay after his old arm and leg were broken. As a result, it didn't work out. Not far away, those little kids wielding wooden swords might have been respectful, awe-inspiring and cautious when seeing Yi Chen. At the moment, everyone's blood is boiling, no matter whether Yi Chen is a god or a clan leader. They rushed forward and began to smash Lu Xing, who was hanging upside down, in excitement. Yi Chen ignored these little brats and continued to move forward while controlling the green bull. This little guy seems to have good talent. The clan leader has good eyesight. His name is Lu Xing. He is smart and smart. His talent is indeed very good. He has now reached the 5th level of the spiritual release stage. But his personality is too out of touch. He is an orphan and has no one to discipline him. He makes trouble all day long. In the tribe, people I hate dogs. The high priest hurriedly explained. Find someone who can suppress you, take good care of him, and beat him if he doesn't obey. If you beat him a few times, he will behave. Yi Chen gave an order casually. Okay, the high priest nodded. Okay. As expected, although Yi Chen thinks Lu Xing's talent is good and worth cultivating, he has no interest in accepting him as his apprentice. The viewers in the live broadcast room were immediately disappointed. But having said that, it is actually Lu Xing's luck that he was not accepted as a disciple by Yi Chen. If Yi Chen really wants to be accepted as his apprentice, Lu Xing might be beaten every 3 days. After all, although Lu Xing is a fake felon and knows how to please Yi Chen, his personality must not change too quickly in the early stage. As for Yi Chen, it seems that there is only one way to discipline such a naughty kid, and that is to beat him. It's simple and crude, but the effect is actually good. Look at the little golden ball. He is also a naughty kid, but in front of Yi Chen, he is just a quiet and good baby, with no sense of existence. Hey, Feng Yu seems to be planning to take action. While they were chatting, the audience's attention was quickly attracted by another figure. After the green barbarian Yo left the tribal settlement and the tribesmen dispersed, Feng Yu was chasing the green barbarian bull. Clan leader, Yi Chen was enjoying the tranquility of not having to study new techniques or practice, when a voice sounded from behind. Turning around, he saw a tall and upright clansman rushing towards him. Please forgive me for interrupting the clan leader rashly. Feng Yu stepped forward, came to the front of Yi Chen, and knelt down. He pointed at the high priest with righteous indignation and complained, Chief, I am willing to use my life as a guarantee to report that the high priest, in order to please you, ignored the people's protection from the cold and wastefully collected animal skins. Report that the high priest was greedy for the wealth of the Mo tribe. Abuse of power for personal gain, poor management. You are slandering me. Patriarch, don't believe him. The high priest was shocked and his expression changed drastically. Chen's expression suddenly became strange. High priest, have you made people angry so quickly? He had only been in power for a short period of time, and some people actually began to use their lives as a guarantee to file lawsuits. Clan leader, I am your most loyal believer. The high priest's 2 sides were fighting, looking at Feng Yu with deep resentment in his eyes. Tell me what's going on. Yi Chen ignored the high priest and looked at Feng Yu. My name is Feng Yu, and I am a porter in the tribe's warehouse. Feng Yu said respectfully, normally, if nothing happens, I will record in detail all the items that come in and out of the warehouse. Some time ago, I occasionally saw the records of registered items entering and leaving the warehouse. After comparing them, I found that there were quite a few deviations. So I observed secretly and found that every time the high priest entered and left the warehouse, he would secretly take away some spiritual stones, precious internal organs and furs of ferocious beasts. The high priest yelled, No, I didn't. It was all stolen by the tribesmen working in the warehouse. For this matter, I have severely punished several tribesmen who stole seriously. If the high priest didn't steal it, then what did you dig a hole in the corner of the house and bury in the middle of the night? Feng Yu asked rhetorically. This. The high priest's face turned pale and he was speechless. Yi Chen was a little bit dumbfounded. the dignified and de facto leader of the Yanshan tribe, tampered with the entry and exit records of items, and it was a routine operation to bring cartloads of spiritual stones and treasures to his home. He was actually caught because he was greedy for a small advantage and took advantage of others. He even dug holes at home to hide things in the middle of the night. This pattern, the high priest didn't blush, but Yi Chen felt a little blushing, but after thinking about it, I felt relieved. The total population of the Yanshan tribe is only over 3,500. It is strange that the high priest has now learned to bully men and dominate women and amass money, not to mention, he hinted to the high priest 3 months ago, asking him not to go too far. Now that he has gained power, with the mind of the high priest, it is definitely not impossible to understand. Chapter 88. The High Priest becomes an old father. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You continue. Yi Chen gestured to Feng Yu Dao. Feng Yu continued, in this cold winter, the tribesmen originally had a sufficient number of animal skins. A batch was also stored in the warehouse. But the high priest, in order to please the clan leader, did not hesitate to empty the warehouse of various animal skins, waste a lot of them, and cut them into shapes of the same size. In fact, because the quantity is not enough, every household in the tribe is forced to hand in a batch of animal skins to keep out the cold. The purpose is just to make the road surface softer and more comfortable after the clan leader comes back, and to treat the high priest differently. But I don't know that the clan members are complaining about this, and even secretly complain that the clan leader was blinded. If the clan leader doesn't believe it, you can ask the clan members. Yi Chen glanced at the trembling high priest and asked, "Is there more?" Feng Yu nodded. The high priest holds great power and should handle various disputes fairly and impartially. However, because he accepted benefits, he obviously favored one party and made a large number of unfair judgments. As long as we re-examine the previous disputes, we will definitely find many unfair places. Then find the beneficiary party, and with the supreme authority of the clan leader, we will definitely be able to make these benefited clansmen bow their heads and plead guilty. Plop. The high priest's shaky legs finally couldn't support his thin body, and he sat down on the ground. This attitude shows that everything is true. Very good. I admire him for not fearing the power of the high priest and secretly investigating. Whether it's courage, brains, sense of justice and loyalty. Feng Yu, you have made great achievements. What kind of reward do you want? Yi Chen looked at Feng Yu expectantly. This man is a talent. If it were an ordinary tribesman, it would be difficult for him to speak fluently to him to sue the high priest, but this Feng Yu was very organized and pointed at the key points, which in turn scared the high priest to the ground. Regardless of brains and courage, it is the best choice. It's an honor for me to be able to uncover the moron that is the high priest for the clan leader and the tribe. The clan leader's appreciation is the greatest reward for me. Feng Yu hurriedly spoke. Well, in that case, keep your courage, justice and loyalty to the tribe. Yi Chen waved his hand. Feng Yu was a little confused. If you say no, do you really mean you won't give it? Yes. He stood up in a daze, turned around in a daze, and walked towards the tribe gathering place. Damn it, I laughed so hard. Feng Yu's confused little eyes almost made me burst out laughing. The audience in the live broadcast room burst into laughter. 6 or 7 hours ago, they would have never understood why Feng Yu didn't want a reward and Yi Chen really didn't give any reward. There was an example of by Ruoxin, and they easily figured out what was going on. Let's make a judgment. Indeed, setting up a trap to lure the high priest into producing animal skin rugs and secretly collecting evidence of various crimes committed by the high priest are actually nothing. The real power of Feng Yu is to go straight to the core, exaggerate the negative impact, and make the high priest unable to defend himself as soon as he takes action. But in fact, the old high priest is not greedy for much. I just used a scanner to scan the big hole he dug under the bed. The total value of the boxes inside is only more than 300 spiritual stones. Compared to the high priest, Feng Yu is at least 3 levels higher. But on the other hand, Bai Ruoxin is 3 ranks higher than Feng Yu. Because she can figure out Yi Chen's thoughts, she didn't waste Yi Chen's time at all. She simply revealed her intentions and ambitions in front of him, and even asked for higher power. Feng Yu's mistake was in the last step. He didn't understand that as a superior, Yi Chen needs to keep his emotions and anger hidden, allowing others to guess and figure out his attitude, and firmly hold the initiative in his hands. But Yi Chen himself is too lazy to guess and figure out other people's thoughts. He likes to solve problems in simple and crude ways. He has never been afraid of supporting some ambitious but capable people to rise to power. Many people secretly felt sorry for Feng Yu. They firmly believed that if Feng Yu directly stated what position he wanted, with his mind that could make even the high priest fall down, Yi Chen would most likely satisfy him. Get up. You have to thank Feng Yu for guessing that I won't do anything to you, so he chose to attack you when I left the tribe's settlement. Looking at the high priest who collapsed on the ground, Yi Chen said angrily, you have the courage to be taken down for just a few words, and you will immediately become a joke to everyone. The high priest looked up at Yi Chen in surprise. After taking a few seconds to ponder the meaning of these words, I was overjoyed. He quickly crawled forward and kissed the wet soil at the feet of the green bull. Thank you, Patriarch, for not committing any crime. I will definitely remember today's lesson and never make any mistakes again. Have you taken those rare spiritual minerals in the tribe's warehouse? Yi Chen asked noncommittally. People are selfish and hold great power, and it is impossible for the high priest to completely guard his desires and not get any privileges or benefits. Because he has power in his hands, even if the high priest doesn't want to do any good, there will always be people who try every means, think of ways and means, cry and beg him to accept it. As long as it doesn't exceed Yi Chen's bottom line, he won't care. No, when the Patriarch announced the expansion, the most important thing was to collect spiritual minerals, and he obviously cared about those spiritual minerals very much. The high priest shook his head hurriedly. Even if I had 100 courages, I would not dare to take any spiritual minerals. I can also swear on my life that even those spiritual minerals with a relatively large number, I did not take any. This is the measure, you can judge it yourself. Yi Chen couldn't help but remind him again. Okay, the high priest nodded hurriedly. In addition, you have no offspring, and the little guy who is still hanging on the vine is also an orphan. Just take him as your son. Be strict when you should be strict, treat him well when you should treat him well, and raise him as your own son. Yi Chen ordered. Okay, the high priest seemed to have become a yes man, and only knew to nod desperately. As for what Yi Chen said, I will think about it later. Go. Notify me when the 3 armies of spiritualists come. Yi Chen jumped off the green bull's back and went straight back to his stone house. The high priest wiped the sweat from his forehead and exhaled heavily. He led the green bull back with a dazed look. In the distance, Lu Xing was hung on the vines and tortured to death by his friends. While enduring the beating, he was depressed that he was clearly following the designed plan and every step was perfect. He had successfully demonstrated his extremely high talent, reaction and adaptability, so why did Yi Chen hang himself up without waiting for him to show his extraordinary intelligence? Okay. The most pitiful one turned out to be Lu Xing. Although Feng Yu's plan did not succeed, it did not fail. At least, Yi Chen knew his ability and brains. On the other hand, Lu Xing's plan failed, and he also got an old father out of nowhere. It's depressing enough to play in the mud with a bunch of little kids with an adult's mind. Now, he has to recognize an old man as his father, which is terrible. The audience in the live broadcast room were all laughing and crying. Speaking of which, Yi Chen is still very good to the high priest. Although he treats this old man as a big black pot that can be thrown out at any time to calm the people's grievances. But he thinks of his hard work and is worried that he will be killed by those who want to take the position one day without knowing it. This is the second time he has hinted to him to grasp the measure, stick to the bottom line, and not make a fatal mistake. He even found him a godson with excellent talent as a talisman. Someone said, however, Yi Chen doesn't know that Lu Xing is not only extremely talented, but also will be afraid to kill the high priest when he becomes powerful in the future. He can help the high priest now. With Lu Xing making plans and checking for omissions behind the scenes, and the high priest himself is not stupid, the fake serious criminals will not be able to use him as a stepping stone in the future. It must not be that easy. On the other hand, Lu Xing has such an old father, and he will have a bright future. Even if the high priest cannot beat those fake serious criminals one day and is really taken down, Yi Chen, who is nostalgic and sentimental, will definitely give him a lot of preferential treatment for the sake of the high priest. Even if he has an old father in a muddle, I don't know if he can bear the great fatherly love. You know, Yi Chen has told the high priest to raise Lu Xing as his own son. I doubt that the high priest will hold Lu Xing in his arms to sleep at night to let him feel the warm fatherly love. If I were Lu Xing, I would stab the high priest to death with a sword, and then hit my head in front of Yi Chen's stone house. Let Yi Chen also experience how painful it is to play cards unconventionally. Chapter 89, Practicing the Chaos Technique will result in losing an arm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Chen spent 2 days in the stone house, concentrating on cultivation. If he were to use his original strongest talent of the human race, it would take about 18 days to break through from the second level of the spiritual law period to the third level of the spiritual law period. With the help of spirit stones, it can be accelerated to about 9 days, but not only that, he also has the strongest talent system. The larger the sphere of influence controlled, the higher the additional talent bonus. Now, the sphere of influence controlled by him has reached more than 1.5 million square kilometers. The talent bonus has been increased to 15 times the original talent. In other words, Yi Chen's current talent has reached 25 times the highest talent of the human race. The speed of cultivation is naturally faster. It only takes 3 or 4 days to go from the second level to the third level of the spiritual law period with the help of spirit stones. In the spiritual law period, he can still clearly feel the feeling of rapid progress, which naturally makes Yi Chen unable to stop. Unfortunately, no matter how eager he is, he can't stop. Things that need to be dealt with still need to be dealt with outside. There was a knock on the door. The little golden ball ran to open the door as soon as possible. The high priest was standing outside the door with a smile. Yi Chen came to the door, grabbed the high priest's arm, and flew directly to the center of the valley. He hadn't been out for 2 days. The valley was in a new look again. The wooden houses and yards had more than doubled. It was more efficient than Yi Chen expected. Looking down from midair, the courtyards were neat and orderly, and pleasing to the eye. In the settlement, tribesmen practicing swords or children chasing and playing could be seen everywhere. Chief, arriving at the center of the valley, the tribesmen in the spiritual law stage waiting there were all excited and anxious to see Yi Chen falling from the sky. A rough look showed that there were at least more than 40 of them. Even though the tribesmen in the spiritual law stage needed to stay behind in the other 3 armies to suppress the ferocious beasts, more than 40 could still be gathered, which was much more than Yi Chen expected. However, Yi Chen's face could not see the slightest smile, because he only saw excitement and urgency in the eyes of these geniuses of the Yanshan tribe. Only the spiritual law tribesmen in Guli's area had unstoppable admiration and awe in their eyes. After fighting outside for more than a year, these genius tribesmen, with their more powerful strength, got used to crushing ordinary beasts, and got used to enjoying the admiration and envy of ordinary warriors. And they seemed to be a little floating. At first, I thought that they had such powerful strength entirely because of their talents. It was natural to teach them more powerful skills. When I saw him as the tribe leader again, I no longer had the previous sense of awe. The spiritual law tribesman of the East Road army where Guli was still in awe was only because he slaughtered thousands of beasts in one breath at the Yinxia tribe. While showing his powerful strength, he also made these tribesmen understand that he, the tribe leader, also had a bloodthirsty and brutal side. However, he didn't have time to run to the other 3 routes to let the geniuses and warriors of the 3 armies see his bloodthirsty and brutal side. Under the puzzled gazes of the people in the spiritual law period below, Yi Chen did not land, but floated in the air. He looked at the high priest beside him. How did you arrange the priests of the original Qingqiao tribe and Yinxia tribe? I asked them to follow me and deal with some miscellaneous things. The high priest explained a little confusedly. Let them find a few people in the tribe who are not talented but have flexible minds and outstanding eloquence as disciples, and then send them to the 4 armies, Yi Chen said. Okay. The high priest didn't quite understand what Yi Chen meant, but this didn't stop him from agreeing first and then slowly understanding it. In order to avoid asking questions here and there, it would seem that he was too stupid. As the population of the tribe increased rapidly, he, the high priest, was definitely the one with the most pressure. As his power increased, he always felt that everyone wanted to harm him and everyone wanted to replace him. Alexander, not only did his hair fall out in clumps, but he also began to suffer from insomnia at night. Yi Chen then landed downwards. Clan leader. Everyone was excited, their eyes full of expectation. I called you here this time to teach you a more powerful technique. Yi Chen came to the stone wall and carved the three big characters Chaos Ju again with the iron sword next to the Chaos Ju of the Lingfang period. Everyone was instantly ecstatic. Sure enough, the clan leader was going to teach a more powerful technique. So excited, so nervous. It's coming, the Chaos Ju of the Lingfa period is coming. Although I haven't cultivated to the Lingfa period yet, I'm still so excited that I feel like I'm flying. I've been looking forward to this day for a long time. In the live broadcast room, all the audience clenched their fists, and their breathing was a little rapid due to nervousness. After more than 8 months, Yi Chen finally started to teach the technique again. Yi Chen quickly used sword energy to engrave the formula and exercise diagram of the Chaos Ju of the Lingfa period on the stone wall. Before I start teaching you the chaos art of the spiritual law stage, I need to let you know one thing in advance. The chaos art of the spiritual law stage is a powerful way of improvement that only gods can master. Mortals have to pay a certain price to learn it. And the price is that after 3 months, the left arm will slowly shrink and rot. Yi Chen's words, like a thunderclap, exploded in the minds of all the people in the Lingfa period. The countless viewers in the live broadcast room also widened their eyes and couldn't help shrinking their necks. What's going on? The cultivation method created by Yi Chen has finally started to have side effects. It's over, what should I do? After 3 months, the left arm will slowly shrink and rot. Doesn't that mean that after learning the Lingfa period Chaos Sutra, I will lose an arm? It's a bolt from the blue. This price seems a bit high. What are you afraid of? If we lose an arm, we can go to the hospital to inject a regeneration agent and regenerate an arm, right? I'm afraid it's not that simple. Don't forget that the Gongfa Research Institute destroyed many geniuses in order to create Gongfa quickly. Those days, the meridians that were just damaged all had irreversible injuries, and even the top regenerative agents could not repair them. The side effects of the atrophy and decay of this arm may also belong to this type. Perhaps the arm can be repaired, but the meridians and acupoints in the arm may be completely irreparable. What should I do? Those who have broken through to the first level of the spiritual law period, will you learn it? Learn it. After breaking through to the first level of the spiritual law period, I dreamed of improving my realm. An arm, I'll give it up. A genius in the first level of the spiritual law period gnashed his teeth and seemed to have made a great determination. I guess I will learn it after I break through to the first level of the spiritual law period. I can't improve my realm anymore, just thinking about it makes me worse than death. Alas, me too. The audience in the live broadcast room sighed. No one expected that they had been forcing themselves not to have too much hope and trying to restrain their excitement. Yi Chen was going to teach the Chaos Sutra of the spiritual law period, but there was an accident with a huge sequelae. The stock market of the entire galaxy suddenly took a sharp turn downward, and there was a lot of grief. The military headquarters building. Even with the iron-blooded determination and calmness of the marshal, his face was extremely ugly. He immediately issued a notice to summon the military leaders to discuss this major emergency. After receiving the news, the leader of the Angel clan, Bolton, showed ecstasy. He did not have the calmness that an intelligence leader should have. Chapter 90, Learning Even If You Have One Less Arm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How could this happen? After learning the Chaos Sutra of the Lingfa period, I have to pay an arm as the price. In the valley, the originally excited Lingfa clansmen were all entangled. Yi Chen was not in a hurry, and quietly waited for their answers. For more than half a minute, Xuanhuan, the leader of the Northern Army, suddenly gritted his teeth and said, I am willing to practice the Chaos Sutra of the Lingfa period, and ask the clan leader to teach me. Everyone's eyes were all focused on his face. On Xuanhuan's face, there was only determination and resoluteness. Diamond suit that he was 1.9 meters tall, but not burly, the reason for making up his mind was that he had to learn the Chaos Sutra of the Lingfa period. The biggest reason was that the realm improvement brought him too much temptation, even if he didn't know that the realm improvement could greatly extend his life like the audience in the live broadcast room. The realm improvement and strength improvement also gave him an indescribable strong sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. For him, there was an irresistible temptation. The reason why he became the first person to make the decision was that among the 4 leaders, he was the one who benefited the most from learning Chaos Ju. The commanders of the East and South armies were the original tribal warriors Goli and Rog. The commander of the West army was the original tribal chief Taisher. Before learning Chaos Ju, although they did not have such strong strength, they were all ranked in the top 3 in the tribe with their burly figures and strong strength. Xuanhuan was previously unknown in the tribe. Relying on his outstanding talent, he was selected by Yi Chen to become the leader of the North Army. He was used to being a leader who could command hundreds of people, be in awe of his subordinates, and kill ferocious beasts on the spot when his sword pointed. It would be more painful for him to give up improving his strength and giving up the position of leader than to let him die. I'll learn. Goli stood up second. Her idea was a little more straightforward. Stronger strength would allow her to better expand the territory for Yi Chen. An arm is nothing. I'll learn too. Taisher was the third one. He used to be the chief of Yanshan tribe, but because he was already over 30 years old, his physical strength was declining year by year and he was aging seriously. In order not to be replaced by the warriors of the tribe, he took the initiative to abdicate. Only he could understand the feeling of a hero's loneliness. It was the chaos art that made him stronger than before, and he didn't want to experience the feeling of a hero's loneliness for the second time. I'll learn. I'll learn too. Soon, all the spiritual law period tribesmen, after thinking again and again, stood up and expressed their opinions. 43 spiritual law period people were all willing to pay an arm as the price in order to continue to improve their realm. Okay. As expected, they are all willing to learn. There is no way. The human race in the barbaric era, because they have been in a state of uncertainty for a long time, is more ruthless than us and is more willing to pay a price for strength. Not to mention, they are all high-ranking military officials of the Xuanhuan tribe. If they don't make progress, they will regress. If they don't learn the Chaos Sutra at the spiritual level, they will be replaced sooner or later. The consequence of not learning is that your strength will stagnate and your status will be lost. The price is far more than an arm. In the live broadcast room, all the audience were weak, as if their energy and spirit were drained. I feel like we will learn it eventually. Even if we don't learn the Chaos Sutra of the spiritual law stage, our status will be secure, but the feeling of not being able to improve our strength is really uncomfortable. Not to mention, we also know that the higher the realm, the longer the lifespan. After breaking through to the spiritual law stage, the upper limit of lifespan can reach 500 years. Only after learning the Chaos Sutra of the spiritual law stage can we break through to the next great realm. And the next great realm may allow the upper limit of lifespan to reach 1,000 years. From now on, whether it is the exile planet or our human federation, all humans will become one-armed. Alas, the terrible sequelae are finally here. I don't know if there will be more serious consequences after breaking through to the next great realm and learning a higher level of Chaos Sutra. Severe sequelae. This is probably the price of evolution. Just get used to it slowly. For example, the powerful beings of the 10,000 races are all weird compared to ordinary people. Aren't they all weird? Angel race, different strength, different number and color of wings. Three-eyed race, different strength, different size and color of pupils. 10,000 hands, different strength, different number of arms. Based on the sequelae this time, the stronger the human race, the fewer arms. Or, the stronger the strength, the fewer limbs. Right now, because of aesthetic issues, everyone thinks that having one less arm may be weird, but this is the price of evolution, and you will get used to it slowly in the future. Everyone sighed and was flustered. Everyone was trying to comfort themselves to accept this price. Since you are all willing to learn, let's start. In the valley, seeing that everyone expressed their willingness to learn the Chaos Sutra at the level of the spiritual law period, Yi Chen didn't say anything more and started teaching. All laws are in the mind, the way is natural, everything returns to one, and one can see the oneness with the mind. This paragraph means that after breaking through to the spiritual law stage, the perception ability becomes more and more important. Indistinctly, one can already perceive the various rules formed by the great way of heaven and earth. Some of these rules are beyond our realm of strength, and even the entry level cannot be touched. But for some rules, through hard understanding, we can already vaguely touch some of the fur. The most important point about the rules of spiritual energy is balance. It is an endless energy, and also an inexhaustible energy. It seems contradictory, but it is not contradictory. To put it simply, spiritual energy will be continuously generated in an area. But when a powerful existence appears in this area, he will absorb most of the spiritual energy in this area, making the spiritual energy thin, affecting other people's absorption of spiritual energy. If you cannot master and comprehend the balance, the various rules formed by the great Tao of heaven and earth will produce various restraints, or even wipe out the variables of this powerful existence. One of the variables imposed on our human race by the various laws of the great Tao of heaven and earth is that after breaking through to the spiritual law stage, it will be difficult to absorb the huge amount of spiritual energy for your own use. So, the first thing you have to do is to perceive the rules of spiritual energy, comprehend the way to balance spiritual energy, and absorb the huge amount of spiritual energy for your own use so that you can be unrestricted. Yi Chen invested great patience and introduced the practice formula of the Chaos Sutra and the spiritual law stage in detail, and expressed his feelings without reservation. After breaking through to the spiritual law stage, what touched him the most was the path of cultivation, the path of defying the heaven. Just reaching the spiritual law stage made him vaguely feel an inexplicable sense of crisis. It seems that if he continues to improve, it will no longer conform to the operating rules of the great Tao of heaven and earth. The great Tao of heaven and earth needs balance and a perfect closed loop. It allows a certain race to stand at the top of the food chain in a closed loop, but the race at the top of the food chain is not allowed to destroy this closed loop, occupy all resources, and compress the living space of other races. Once this happens, terrible variables will inevitably be born, or the breeding capacity of this race will plummet, or a disaster that is enough to destroy this race will befall, or a natural enemy that can restrain this race will be born, or stop at the brink and stop improving, or find another shortcut and enter a larger closed loop to release the pressure of the small closed loop, or you can only find ways to avoid variables and reduce or delay the generation of variables as much as possible. Yi Chen has never considered the first method. He is temporarily powerless to do the second method. He chose the third method, to study and find loopholes in the rules of the great Tao of heaven and earth, try to find a reasonable way to improve in the loopholes in the rules of the great Tao of heaven and earth. In fact, there is a fourth method, that is to break the rules set by the great Tao of heaven and earth and have the ability to make your own rules. This method just flashed through Yi Chen's mind and he no longer considered it. His current strength level is just a superficial understanding of some simple rules. Knowing oneself and knowing the enemy is a world away, not to mention breaking the rules of the universe and making one's own rules.